So we have officially wrapped up playing Spellmaster the Saga, and I've got to say, that was a game I'm very disappointed in. I was very much so looking forward to playing it and getting to explore its world and build up in that world. It was one of the things that anyone who's watched me for a while on my streams would know that I've been very enthusiastic and very excited for. However, for those who got to see the series as it played out, it is in no way what the developer described it as when on their Steam page, and this led to me trying to refund the game through Steam. However, that's when I discovered something really, really annoying about Steam. You see, apparently, if I can make a game that is one block of grass texture with a tree in the middle that has the player unable to close it for 3 hours, I get to keep whatever money they spent on it. That's right, a straightforward scam is not enough to get you removed from Steam, or enough to get a person refunded. I went through and I had a short back and forth with one of the representatives from Steam when I submitted a request for a refund. I then went on to ask, hey, I don't really care as much about the refund. Can we get this game taken down? It's literally being sold as something it's not. This game is not a construction management game, as it says in the Steam page. Instead, the game is a, I guess, okay, fairly competent RPG thing. It's not the worst game in the world. There are people who have made videos on it who made very good criticisms. One of the videos I had sort of a negative view on when I first watched it simply got about a minute into the game, and it was like the lack of motion blur options and the lack of it was like smoothness of mouse control. There were a bunch of lack of accessibility options that the game had, and the guy was like, listen, this right here tells you it's a bad game up front. And I got into a bit of an argument with them because I'm like, you didn't even try out the game before declaring it was bad. You just looked at the first menu and said this is awful. And you know what? Honestly, I just call that efficiency at this point. The guy was entirely right. It is a bad game. Well, hell, it's not just a bad game, it's a genuine ripoff. This game is a scam, and Steam will not give you back your money. This is really bad for the indie creator scene, because there's a bunch of literal scam games out there that are gonna make people hesitant to buy any indie game that gets put out on Steam, and that really bothers me. I want to see small indie creators succeed. I would have loved to see Spellbook Creations put that early access tag onto Spellmaster the Saga and potentially continue updating the game as they were moving forward. But instead, the game is just packaged and sold as having features it straightforward doesn't. This is insane. Imagine somebody goes and plays that game and that's just their experience with indie games. That's it, is games like Spellmaster the Saga. I looked into other games that this guy has created. Apparently, he was involved with creating Life is Feudal and Life is Feudal Forest Village, which have been pretty roundly condemned as games, as far as I'm aware. I'm really disappointed by this. I really was looking forward to a game that would let me build up a magical academy and manage different characters. There were demos on the Twitter page for Spellbook Creations that even just showed a paper management game, which, you just moved characters around on a screen, and even that had me pretty excited because, honestly, even something as minor as that would be a step in the right direction. Spellmaster the Saga is a bad game, and I hope that rather than being a ripoff, it does come down to what people in the comments were saying about the game being released early because Spellbook Creations ran out of funding. The demos that they showed on the Twitter page were really interesting, and I liked the first technical demo that they did. I liked watching the videos from that. It doesn't seem that they improved much from there or created much content for it, and that's really disappointing. If there are indie games out there, maybe then we should just wait for other YouTubers to show them off. Hopefully that'll keep people from getting ripped off, and maybe in part that's what I'm going to try to do moving forward. Though I do want to focus my channel more on magic in games and maybe factory builders and colony builders. I would much rather feature games that I'm enthusiastic about, like I was was with Spellmaster the Saga before I realized just how bad it was. I'm gonna put a link to that review that I mentioned in the comments because I think I was very unfair to that person, and I think that they sort of deserve a bit of love, if you would, for their review, even if it was very simplistic. And I'm very disappointed in Steam not being willing to refund people for what is a literal scam, a game that is sold on a set of features that it does not have. I bought the game as a management construction game, and all I got was a half-baked, mediocre RPG that was like 10 hours long. I wouldn't mind paying the price I did for a game if I knew what it was in advance. Anyway, I have a headache. I'm very frustrated by Spellmaster the Saga and in Steam. So that's gonna be it for right now. In the meantime, y'all, just remember, nobody's cares. Thank you very much and good night.